Hi, I'm Annika Johnson from Al Johnson's in Sister Bay. I hope you enjoy my new video series called Door County Girl. These are stories of my life, the people and places that I love, and of course how we all survive here in northern Wisconsin. You can come back as often as you like, but don't forget to subscribe to Al's YouTube channel. I'll be posting lots of really cool new videos. So let's go! Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Door County Girl. Today I am with my friend Pat McDonald, and he has a very funky, cool little lounge in Sturgeon Bay called the Tambourine Lounge. But that's not really what he's all about. I mean, this is part of who he is, and I actually can say...
This is all of who I am.
Okay, well I have never
really.
been in here before, so this is really a treat for me. I've been into his Holiday Music Motel. I've been to other things that you do, but I've never been into this little lounge, although I've heard about it. I've seen it on Facebook, things like that. But I want to know more about you. And I think everybody out there kind of wants to know about you. So, Pat, start out like, who are you? Where are you from? I mean, you have such a life. Start when you're little.
Can I start with that I'm horrible on camera? Can we start there?
Yeah. We're always horrible on camera, but he is a good interviewer.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. So when you were little, you grew up in Fish Creek, right?
No.
No.
No. Actually, I never lived in Fish Creek.
Really?
Yeah. When my parents decided to get the Bayside by that bar, my mom called me. I was in Nashville, living on Music Row in Nashville.
Okay.
And with a bunch of people, you know, a house. And I was like 22 years old, maybe, 23 maybe.
You were a baby.
Yeah. And she said, they're buying a bar. I'm like, Mom, please don't buy a bar. And I said, the bar business is hard. And you know, that was because I was a musician playing in bars, and every night at the end of the night, when it was time to get paid, the bar owner or manager would say, man, bar business is hard, you know, like we don't have a lot to pay you. It's really hard. It's hard to make a profit with music. And so, in other words, I got a whole skewed picture of what the bar business was. You know, they kind of snowed me a little about the bar business in order to just save some money and get me to take less money for playing, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't know any better. So I told them, I just thought the bar business was the hardest business there was, you know. And so Mom, fortunately, didn't listen to me and take my advice, or there would be no Bayside.
Yeah, so he's talking about Bayside Tavern. It's in Fish Creek. So everybody goes to the Bayside. Everybody knows about the Bayside that knows Door County. It's a good bar, good food, good people. It's got a long history. They just redid the outside.
I know, it looks really nice
Yeah,
now.
it looks great. Yeah.
It's my brother, Bobby. He kind of commandeered that whole process and designed it. He's an artist too, you know. So,
yeah. Your family all has some artists that are... Your sister,
we all seem to dabble in art
of
one kind or another. Yeah.
But that's good. We need more art. Okay, so then you didn't ever go in the bar business, but you were in Nashville. So take me there, and then how did you get where you are today? Go along your journey.
Yeah, I can just focus on narrow threads of my life. Like, for example, if we want to go from that Nashville, which just got brought up out of the blue. But what I was doing at that time when I was living there was I was hosting a writer's night every night there at a coffee shop that let me live for free in exchange for hosting the writer's night, which was basically what we do in here, which is original music, you know, open mic. And that's what I did, though, 7 nights a week in Nashville for about a half a year, you know, 6 months maybe. And it kind of gave me a lot of experience for doing this, you know. That, though, I don't think we had a sound system in there. I don't remember anything about sound system. Everyone was just playing to this little room acoustically, you know. And I was living in a little room like 10 feet away from where I hosted the writer's night. And I was living in this kind of like a big closet that was astroturf, floor to ceiling, green. And what that was in their minds, the people who owned this building thought they were building a recording studio in there.
Right.
But that's all they ever had in there. They just, for some reason, they thought AstroTurf was a great sonic sound processing
thing, yeah.
sound. Yeah, yeah.
Good for acoustics.
Yeah, it was. It was an ugly room, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get out of the ugly room? Then where'd you go?
Then I moved to the place where I was living when I told my mom, "Don't buy a bar." It was on 17th Avenue South, the heart of like Music Row, you know. And I think it's a lawyer's office now, you know, but the house is still there. But this was 1975, and that I moved in there, and it was with a bunch of people. How did I get in there? I don't know how. Oh yeah, a couple people who used to go to the open mic. They lived there. They needed another house guest, or another paying rent person. So that's how I moved in there, and it was weird. It was like theater people and music people all in one house, and but that doesn't say how I got here. But it does kind of give a little background on why I feel so comfortable here, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, so then you were in Nashville. Eventually, you stayed in the music business, because of course you did, always. And then you ended up getting married, right?
Yep.
And then you ended up...
We were in Madison at that time.
And you still played a lot of music in Madison. Yep. And you did have a really big hit that everybody seems to know.
After we moved to Austin, yep.
Yes, and it was "The Future's So Bright, Gotta Wear Shades." Everybody knows that song. So, interestingly, you've been playing music forever, but then you get this one song that everybody kind of relates to you and her. But it's not one of my favorite songs. I mean, you play such other good music that it would be great to hear other songs out there, because people just didn't focus on everything.
It's not one of my best songs, but you know, like as far as a song, it's just got like 4 verses and no chorus and one chord progression that just repeats. Very simple song, you know? Yeah.
But it was a really hit. It was a big hit.
I like how simple it was. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's, you know.
And I know you don't like to talk about a whole bunch of stuff, so then you ended up not being with your wife, and then you moved here, back to Door County.
I know. I was in Barcelona for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, you were in Barcelona.
Yeah. When we broke up, Barbara and I, I was friends with Jackson Browne, the legendary songwriter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he.
I love his music.
Yeah. He's a really, really, really brilliant, crafty songwriter. You know, and he and I were friends, and he had been telling me that I should go to Barcelona and stay in his apartment there. And he said, "Oh, they'd really like your music there, because it's a really cool music scene over there, and you should go, and I'll, you know, stay at my apartment as long as you like." And so I didn't take him up on it for a really long time. But then I moved to Door County for a summer, like to just crash at my brother's house mostly, and I hung out here at least a couple months, and I met someone from Spain, and near Barcelona, and she and I got really close, and I told her I'd visit, and then I realized, there's Jackson's apartment, so
You met someone
Now,
from Spain here, not there.
Here in Door County.
Oh my goodness.
That's why. That's
Okay.
the only reason I went to Barcelona. I actually went for a short visit and then ended up coming back here for a short visit and then just directly moving back there. I got an apartment and stuff, and so I was there 8 years off and on. I'm mostly there, coming back here occasionally. But anyway, yeah, it took basically a girl to get
To
me
take it,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, Jackson's pressure wasn't enough. You
Okay.
know, it's kind of weird. I was
Well,
newly
if it was
divorced.
Jackson, I would be
Yeah.
there in a heartbeat.
Yeah. No, I love hanging out with him, but
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I was newly divorced. I was, you know, like susceptible to the charms, you know, and
Sure.
I
Why not?
went there, and
Why
yeah,
not?
and I'm glad I did. It was
Yeah.
really, it turned out to be an amazing musical experience, you know. It's like I got signed to a label in Germany and put out some albums over there and toured with people. I was on the label that John Prine's music was licensed to over in Europe. And
Love him.
yeah, and I toured with people like Chris Whitley, and I don't know if you know who that is, but yeah, there was a lot of stuff. I could just go on and on and on about Spain, you know, Barcelona in particular. I started a little duo, my friend Eric McFadden, who has been a big part of Steel Bridge. He used to visit there a lot, and we played tours together, him and I. And he's just he makes the flamenco players that are playing on the street there, he makes them go wow, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, and he jams with those guys. So Eric is going to be here at Steel Bridge this year, but he and I in Spain, when we started touring, we created a little duo called the Sons of Crack Daniels.
The Sons of...
Sons of Crack Daniels. We're a duo. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. And,
You always come up with good names for songs and everything, I think.
I like naming things. Once a long time ago, I thought, you know what the perfect job would be for me if I had to, you know, do something other than music or on the side. It would be naming things.
Oh my gosh, I always thought that I would wanted to do that too. My brother Rolf always picks my dog's names for me. He always picks out great names.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you came to Door County, and I'm trying to get you into the Holiday Music Motel. How did you get that place? How did that go? I remember renting a room there once, but not from you. It was just the Holiday Inn. And we were going on our way.
It was always the Holiday Motel.
Yeah, we were ready. We were on our way to Milwaukee, but it was pouring rain, so we said, "Oh my God, we gotta get a room."
Yeah.
So we waited out the storm. We all three stayed in the same room, and not doesn't happen now, but there were like bats flying all over our room when we were in there sleeping.
What year was that?
Oh, I don't even. I think I was 23 years old, 24 years old.
Oh, wow.
I'm 62 now. You guys do the math. I'm not babies anymore. So anyways, you get back here, and how did you get the Holiday Music Motel? And I want you to sort of lead into that, and then Steel Bridge too, because I want people to understand that Steel Bridge is a big deal for you.
Yeah. It's kind of a long story, but I think I can make it short enough.
Okay.
First of all, the Holiday Motel was built the same year I was born. So when we were little kids coming up here to visit Door County, or to visit the little log cabin where my grandma grew up, is just right that side of town, just beyond the highway. And it's still there, the log cabin. And her name was Ruby. And so we'd come visit her. And there's this whole thing about this apple tree that had 9 kinds of apples on it, that we climbed the tree and ate the apples, whichever ones were most in season or whatever. And it was that all those apples were grafted onto that tree.
I know how that works.
By Zettel, Joseph Zettel, the original Zettel.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that. And then my friend Joyce was showing me how to do it at her house once, and I'm like, I had no idea you could do that.
Joe Zettel was my grandma's grandpa.
And is that the Zettels that have the Zettel out by Penn Pub, you know, where it's the cow now. There's a Zettles, John Zettel and Mary Sawyer.
They're probably related.
Probably, yeah.
But
I went to
they have
school
the
with them.
historical. Joseph has a historical marker up on the highway up
Yeah,
there for his
okay.
orchards
I
and
think
stuff.
so.
Anyway, that to me that was almost. I look back at it almost like a religious experience with those apples because there were so many kinds on there, and I thought it was magic. You know, it was like
Oh, yeah.
the burning bush or something that
How can a tree grow
profound.
9 varieties?
Yeah, and I kind of. It kind of registered at the time. It kind of planted a seed, and so the Holiday Motel was we'd see it. We'd go to Peninsula Park too, but we'd see the motel, and we would. I thought, oh man, that looks like Hollywood. That looks like 77 Sunset Strip. It was so modern at the time, you know,
Yeah.
and so I always thought that was a cool motel. I spent my wedding night there one time, you know, and stuff like that. But so when we did Steel Bridge Songfest, the first one, 20 years ago, it was just a concert. It was just Jackson Browne headlining
I remember.
an all-day concert, and playing 2 songs that I had written for that occasion. Well, because I was in that bridge fight to save the bridge at the time, I was thinking bridge all the time. But it was just part of it. Is I wrote these 2 songs and got to play them to this hyped up crowd. They were really, you know, like up for seeing Jackson primarily, but also they were charged up for the cause too, because the idea that Jackson was playing for free in Sturgeon Bay
Yeah.
for our little bridge,
Yeah.
you know,
It was a
that
big
was
deal.
almost unbelievable.
Yeah.
In fact, he turned down a $125,000 gig to come here and play for free.
Well, because he's
Yeah.
your friend.
Yeah, but he's also just a really good guy. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
But still, I don't think he would have just done it for
For anyone?
I think he had a little connection with you.
He might have done it for you.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe.
I never
If you
know.
talk nice,
I could
yeah.
twist his rubber arm. Yeah.
Yeah. So that experience was it made me feel, it felt like the most important gig of my life. It felt like there was a closer connection with the people just because we shared that common cause and everything, and I'd written the 2 perfect songs for the occasion, you know. And I thought, I know a lot of songwriters who'd like to have this experience, you know. And so I called up my friends and everybody and said, hey, you want to come and do a 2nd annual Steel Bridge Songfest, but this time we'll fill up a motel with songwriters, and we'll all crank out bridge songs, and it'll be great. And they did come, and they were really having a really good time. We spun the bottle, you know, to pick collaborators and write a song a day with those people and record them, and so they came and they did that, and one of the writers who I invited was a friend from San Francisco. She was a young but extremely brilliant mind for lyrics, you know, and also good musician, but she hadn't collaborated before, but she was into it so much that during that event that she came up to me and said, I have an idea. Let's buy a motel and do this year-round, you know.
Oh, it was her idea. Oh,
It was
okay.
to buy the motel.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I grew up with a scarcity mindset. You know what that is?
No.
That means like you just have to work with what you got. You can't think big. You've got to, like, you know. I didn't grow up in Fish Creek at the Bayside. I grew up in Green Bay in a little house with 8 people in it, crammed in this little house. My dad worked at the paper mill, you know, and I ran away when I was like 15, and when I was 17. I just wanted to get out of there, but my ideal life was having nothing but a guitar and writing songs and a nice vehicle to
making
travel
something with
around.
what you already have. Yeah,
So,
I get that.
so yeah, I would have never thought of buying that motel, you know. Anna came, she came from a wealthy, not wealthy, but her dad was a doctor, The idea of buying a motel seemed reasonable to her, but at the time I thought, okay, and Pete and Marilyn, who owned the motel, were across the street. I was in Stone Harbor at that time when this conversation happened. Anyway, they said that they'd love to have us buy it, and because they liked hosting all these songwriters. They said, these are the nicest people, and we love being around these people.
They probably loved it.
They did. They really did. And so one year, Anna...
And you included them, so that's,
Anna moved here for a year, lived with me while we put all the investments together and got people interested, and the thing that got people interested was that Jackson Browne was going to be a partner in it, So he was very instrumental in what led to us having the motel, Then a friend of his bought this building, which was for sale for a long time for like $500,000, but it was. By that time, the price had gone down a bit, and so this friend of Jackson's, who used to, I think he was always there at our owners' meetings when we owned the motel, and he was one of the owners of the motel too. But he bought this building, and then he got divorced, and he had to liquidate his assets and stuff. So he sold us this building really cheap.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So this is the building that became the Tambourine Lounge then?
Yeah, Tambourine. The building's called the Tambourine.
The Tambourine.
And long version is the Tambourine Collaboratory.
And this is where you do your magic with all recordings of your songs and when you record other people's songs, right? Mm-hmm. Because you have a couple offices. You showed me one in there. We're going to do a little walk around in a minute.
Yeah.
But this is what you do.
Yeah, so I when we do Writer's Night, which is, like I was talking about what I did in Nashville, this is what this is on a slightly larger scale. So we have the stage there, and it's all set up for people doing a couple songs, getting off stage, doing a couple more, and I'm sitting here mixing and recording the music. Actually, everything we're talking about is actually getting recorded right now through this mic. Oops. But anyway, yeah, these. Anyway, it's a multi-track recorder, and this is where they were playing earlier, playing some music earlier, and everything goes through this computer and this mixing board, analog, digital, couple compressors for the vocal mics.
This is so high tech. How did you learn this?
Oh, this is as basic as, it's this kind of rock bottom as far as, this is like a $300 mixer, you know what I mean? This is a little more. This is a little more. I got the cheapest stuff I could that would do the most, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of high tech, but no, it's pretty low tech because I'm not really.
We did do an interview with Hans Christian once, and his keyboard is ginormous too. And I mean, he's.
Yeah.
I was blown away by the system.
He's got a real studio.
Yeah, that's incredible too.
I've just got fragments of studios. I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4 in this building right now, and 1 in the motel.
You are a busy man.
I just, they're all very, very. Each one has they're all mini studios. Each one has its use. We can walk around if you want.
Sure,
I'll
show us
you.
around.
Okay.
We want to look at the Tambourine Lounge.
Cool.
Tambourine building.
Yeah, this is the Tambourine. It was up to me to kind of name the building and figure out what we were going to do with it, and I decided I wanted a name for the building that didn't sound like a building.
Okay, but so then how did you decide on Tambourine?
Well, I just out of the blue, I thought the Tambourine. That sounds as least like a building as you can possibly get. And then I was analyzing it. I thought, oh yeah, because Melanie Jane and I used to walk past this building, and she used to say, Wouldn't it be nice to have a little cocktail lounge in there? What
And
Sturgeon
she plays the tambourine.
Sturgeon Bay doesn't have a cute little cocktail lounge, and so I always thought it'd be called Melanie Jane's Lounge or something.
Yeah.
And then yeah, she plays the tambourine really well, and so I thought, oh yeah, Melanie Jane plays the tambourine. We're going to be Melanie Jane's Lounge. How about it be the Tambourine Lounge? But this is after I thought of the name The Tambourine for the building. It just probably came out of all those thoughts about the lounge and stuff.
Yeah, because you're the namer
Yeah.
of things. That's going to be your job.
Yeah, but the tambourine is a symbol. I don't know if you've seen that mural on the back of the building. Have you?
No, I'll have to look at it. I've seen it. Maybe I did not explain it to me, though, because I've seen it.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's just a tambourine,
Yeah.
a half a tambourine coming out of the ground on the side of the white building with lightning bolt, red
Yeah.
lightning bolts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that symbol has a meaning. It's like a symbol. Shall I explain that? The meaning of it?
Yeah.
Okay. Whew, I talk too much. Yeah. There's so much to
work.
yeah, it's so much to tell about this. So the tambourine means little circles in a big circle, making some noise.
Okay.
And that's kind of what we are here. Is like when you have groups of 3 songwriters in a circle spinning the bottle. You get these collaborative groups of 3 from spinning the bottle, spinning it twice, to get. But anyway, so these are the little groups, the little circles,
Yeah.
and then the big circle is the whole thing,
I totally relate to
Yeah.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
I got that.
And now we're trying to take that symbol to the next level where we are a nonprofit, Muse is a nonprofit. Now we are 2 little circles in a bigger circle,
Right.
And we're doing this event. We're going to involve more the Destination Sturgeon Bay
Sure.
is a nonprofit.
Uh-huh.
They're another circle,
Yeah.
And we're just trying to make this thing be more involving all of Sturgeon Bay, Door County.
Making it more of a community
Yeah,
event.
and
Yeah.
the mayor's gonna issue a proclamation saying that the second Saturday of June every year will henceforth be Steel Bridge Day.
Awesome.
So second Saturday of June every year, you've heard it first here.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And how many years now? What's this summer going to be?
The 14th.
14. Okay.
Steel Bridge has the third Steel Bridge the second fell on the 14th. The first one, which we are the 20th anniversary of, that was on the 11th, but we're still celebrating it on the 14th. Second Saturday of June. Okay.
Perfect. Okay.
Here's a studio.
This is the little quiet room.
So I recorded a little after I got over cancer, and let's not talk about that.
No.
When I finally had something in my fingers, I was able to play guitar. I sat here for like 7 weeks and wrote an album.
You gave me the album.
Oh yeah, I wrote that one song at a time and recorded it while I was writing it, and
Yep. You came
First
into the
song,
restaurant
second,
and you
yeah.
gave me that album.
I was probably
remember.
really proud of what I had done.
It is an awesome
Yeah.
album.
Yeah, I just
I love all these. You have all these guitars and all this art. This is so awesome.
And
So-
this
it's
is
so
an old
beautiful.
antique mic from the Milwaukee Microphone Museum. It's probably the most expensive thing in the room.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah,
I love this. Over here, this is
Oh,
called
yeah.
the side room, right? You said
sideshow.
sideshow. So
Yeah,
this is where
if you want to go.
Bill can walk that way. I love the mural on the wall.
Yeah, that was designed by Jen Polster. She painted that.
Yep,
Jen
that's you in the
Polster.
jar. I love it.
Yeah. And we've got that deck of cards. Maybe we'll
Yes.
talk about that.
Yeah, and then your just front room up here. But this deck of cards, why don't you
Yeah.
explain that?
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see.
We're gonna go back this way.
So when I do a show in the side show space, They're usually on Wednesdays, but I hardly do any. Occasionally I do one. But you saw that image of the on the wall there.
Yeah.
So I made a deck of cards with that image, and here they are. And they all have song titles on the back with Jen decorated these cards. The one who painted that decorated this side.
Which is clever. All these are songs.
Yep.
I love that.
So I have to know all these songs before I can do a show back there. I have to remember them, or try to relearn them, even some of them. But anyway, the people who come to the show, they pick 3 cards. Like,
I'm going to pick 3 cards. Okay. I'm going to dig deep. Taking this one, and that one.
Okay.
Ooh. So my cards are Valmy.
Oh yeah, that's a good one to pick. That was written about
It's got the little
Valmy.
rainbow on it. I like it.
When I moved back for that summer, that same summer I met the Spanish woman. That's where I got the inspiration in Valmy. I was staying at my brother's house in Valmy, and that song's all about that,
That's cool. Yeah.
And I wrote that on his next birthday. One of my family, they were here in the cemetery celebrating his birthday by his tombstone.
Didn't he just? Wasn't it the anniversary of his birthday the other day?
December.
Oh, December. Yep.
Yeah,
because I remember.
But I was in Barcelona all by myself on that day, and I was like, okay, you guys are sitting by his tombstone, but I'm channeling his spirit right now. I'm going to write a song with him, and so
He wrote this one.
he helped me. His spirit helped me write that song.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep that one right here. Okay. The next one is I Never Will.
Ooh, yeah. I never will fully divulge where that comes from. Where that
This
came
one's
from.
a secret,
Yeah,
people.
but
Secret card.
yeah, I don't want to talk
You gotta
about that.
have your secrets. Okay, we won't talk about that one. That goes
okay.
back in the staff.
Yeah.
You may have to tell me before I die.
Okay.
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 All right.
I will, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That song I wrote with Keith Urban, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Keith
Okay.
Urban and another guy who nobody knows here. What's his name again? I feel bad. I hope he never sees this.
He won't.
Yeah. But
I'm
anyway,
not that big.
the 3 of us wrote it in Nashville. I was,
Okay.
staying in a hotel. They knock on the door. They're giggling because they're high, and
Yeah.
they have this song idea, and we just spent a while. I helped write 3 verses, and that was it. So which one do you pick?
I'm picking Valmy.
Okay, yeah, good.
Because Bill was a friend of mine.
Yeah.
That's your brother. And I loved him. I thought he was super nice.
Oh, he's the best.
And he used to hang out with my boyfriend, Steve Miller, all the time
Oh, yeah, I
when they
know
were
that
little
guy.
shavers. They both
Oh, yeah.
bartended at your mom's bar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
long time
yeah.
ago too. So, but how about Valmy?
Yeah, that's a good choice.
Are you going to play a little bit for this?
No.
No?
Sorry.
Is it too sad?
I don't have, my favorite guitar is in the motel right now.
Okay.
And I don't think.
Do you have a recording of this one?
Definitely, yeah.
Maybe we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
give this one a little bit of a recording to Bill, and then Bill can play a little bit of it. We'll
That'd be
see.
cool. I'm sorry if I can't play right now.
Don't
Yeah,
care.
okay.
We're good.
Thanks.
We're good. We just
Yeah.
were trying to talk about your life. Okay, so Steel Bridge, the date is?
June 14th. Saturday, the second Saturday in June.
And what time does it start?
It'll start over at Muse around noon for an afternoon show outside, and then it'll move here. But this is too small to open it for the public. It's just going to be all
Oh
the
my
music.
God, nobody would get in here.
Yeah, all the musicians and a few people who are working. Mostly working for the event, but we're going to broadcast it on Steel Bridge Radio. See these mics?
Yeah.
That's a little radio mixer there.
Yeah, I've heard you on the radio
And-
before.
And Jessica, who you might have met earlier, who you did meet earlier, I'm sure. She usually sits there. She sits there, and I sit here, and we we do a live radio broadcast of the event from here.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So people can still listen to it if they can't come.
Yeah, and we're gonna have listening parties for the show from here. Steel Bridge Radio is it's an internet radio.
Okay.
We actually got approved by the FCC for a license to have the radio station WHMM, which will, within the next 3 years, that'll be a low power FM station that can be our creative community radio station.
Awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, I know we got to wrap it up.
Yep. Okay, but how do they get any more information on Steel Bridge Fest? Do you have a website? Do you have a
everything we have as we have the information. It goes to steelbridgeday.org. Oh, are you still filming?
Yeah, he is.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Sneaky guy. So steelbridgeday.org. It'll probably be steelbridgeday.com and steelbridgeday.info and steelbridgeday.net.
Do you have a Facebook page
Because
too?
I'll forward those all to the steelbridgesongfest.org website is where you get all the information.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
my last question for you is, we're in the Tambourine, and this is the Tambourine Lounge, and when I walked in, I thought, I didn't know there was a bar here. Can people come in here and drink, or what do they do? How do they come in here and listen to music? Is it open to the public or not?
Well, we give free water in paper cups, free tea.
I had 3 cups. I think
Yeah?
I'm on my limit.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Free tea and chocolate.
Okay.
Usually dark chocolate Hershey Kisses. But,
And you have
know.
concerts on Thursday nights, and anyone can come and listen, right?
Oh, for sure.
It's not like you have to be invited.
No. It's open to the public. It's just that we're not a commercial enterprise. We
Right.
just provide something for people. They can bring stuff in if they want to.
Yeah.
That's usually 7 till 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my very last question is, the Holiday Motel, is it open on that weekend to the public? And how do they reserve a room at your place at the Holiday Motel?
Right now,
Like if
we've
tourists
cut
wanna stay there.
off reservations right now, but for staying there anytime, normally it's just
They can't. You mean you cut off reservations for the
for
Steel?
that day, for that weekend.
But they can still stay any other time.
Oh, yeah.
And how do they get a hold of you for that?
They would usually they talk directly with Melanie Jane.
Just call it up.
Yeah, it's best to just call the number of the motel, which is on our website, which is holidaymusicmotel.com.
Okay.
holidaymusicmotel.com.
Yeah, because it's a very, very cool motel. I love
Yeah.
it. I love your little counter in there where it looks like a little diner, and you have a little music room in there too. And I love the rooms. They're very retro and very, very nice.
I can't believe how well they kept it up over the years, because we're like the 7th or 10th owners or something like that, but nobody trashed it. It's like the counters, everything's
They were
original.
industrious workers,
Yeah,
his wife
yeah.
and him.
It's all.
Well, Pat could tell us more, but he's kind of a private person, so I kind of feel like I've been honored that he even spoke as much as he did.
About my own life.
About his life,
I'd rather
yes.
promote other stuff.
Yes, and I know that he doesn't like to talk about himself, but I appreciate the time that you take. And the Steel Bridge is a good festival, and it is for a good cause, and I think that people would really enjoy it if they came. So a lot of people
They
might
will.
not know about it, so if you're in Door County, then you should just go take a day and go listen. It's fabulous. Yeah.
I don't know if I said it's on Thursdays, right, or something?
Thursdays?
Yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
Cool. All right.
Well, this is the end of our Door County Girl episode, and I'm sure Pat's going, thank God.
I've had enough of me.
I loved hearing
Yeah.
about you, though, because you have a good life. And we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
So, anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe at the bottom of the page, and we will have lots more cool people that we can interview like Pat and learn about what they do in Door County. So, bye for now, everyone.
Door County Girl.
Pat McDonald. Thanks for watching Door County Girl. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next time.